morning, I hope.
This is Jayla, and I'm going to ask her a few questions today as we talk about families. And so the first question is, what do you like to play with Daddy and Mommy?
Um, Games.
Games. Yep, we like to play games. She especially likes to break the ice, but she does not like to lose. Do you like to wrestle with
Yes.
Mommy, with Daddy?
Yes.
And what do I do when I wrestle? Do I get your armpits and your
Yes.
side, like right here and
Yeah.
right here, and your legs, and I tickle you a little bit? Is that fun? Does that make you laugh? So you good, or you want to stay?
I'm good.
All right. So what we're talking about today is this idea of relationship, building relationship, and how we build relationship with our kids. We are called to discipline, to raise our kids up in a way that they know God and they grow up to be mature people and mature followers of Christ. And yet a lot of what that flows out of is relationship. And how do we build relationship is critical to all that we do. It's the foundation to what we're trying to do. And so think about a plant. We have a plant behind me. Plants need environment. I can't grow the plant. I can't do anything to make it grow, but I can create a great environment for it to grow in. And so it has to have good soil, and it has to be watered, and it needs sunlight, and it needs space to spread out. And we are creating an environment for our families and for our grandkids and for our friends where we get to create, and for our church even, we create an environment to see the growth that people need to have. Because the church is the same way. We're about maturity. We're about helping people become mature in Christ, to become all that He wants them to be. And so environment is critical. And the baseline of that environment, of what we build on in a family, is this idea of relationship. And that term is a very broad term, but I want to be very specific what I'm talking about in relationship. I'm talking about connection. We have to build connection at the baseline of what the environment that we're doing. We need to discipline. We need to. If we don't, they will not grow into maturity. Discipline is creating guardrails to help them get to where they need to be. And if we don't have on the foundation of discipline, connection, and relationship, it's going to be very hard to get them there. That bitterness will rise up. At the heart of it is relationship, is connection. And so, how do you build relationship and connection with your kids and your grandkids and your friends? And one of the ways you can do that is play. It's amazing that God put it in the heart of a kid, and I think also adults, even though we kind of hide it at times, is this idea of being playful, of playing, and imagination, and playing games, and winning and losing, and Monopoly, and break the ice, and guess who, and although the hard part for us adults is busyness. And right now, obviously, I would hope that we are less busy, but we need to prioritize connecting. Connecting is about creating story. Connecting is about playfully um, running around and playing tag and playing hide and seek. And at times, I'll be honest with you, it's very hard for me to want to play. But I know that my kids, Jayla, needs that connection. And the other side of that is wrestling for me as a guy, and this idea of love languages and all that sort of thing. That kid, my kid, every one of my kids has enjoyed at Jayla's age and beyond that age and younger than that age, this idea of playful wrestling and tickling and throwing them around and throwing them against the couch and throwing them up in the air. And there's something that comes alive in them, in their face and in their body language, when especially I would say a dad does this a lot, and maybe a mom plays and wrestles and lets them jump on them, and you fake the whole injury thing, and have fun with it, and there's connection that is built in that time. And you can, in my household, you can see the more that I can do those two things, play and wrestle, with my younger kids, the more the relationship is solid. And so then, as I build on that connection, it's one way to connect. That's not the only way to connect, but that's a great way to connect. As I build on that connection, discipline and conversation and all all sorts of other things flow out of that. See, it's after we wrestle that Jay wants to come and read a book with me. It's after I tickle her that she wants to go outside or do something. She wants to do more with me because of that whole idea of wrestling. There's a lot more in that. I think there's more actually science to that. I don't have all of that, but the tactile and just the laughter that we have to share together and the memories that we create together are all big parts of this idea of connecting that God designed us to do with our families. And so the question is, how are you environmentally, as you're creating an environment for grand family, for your family, for your friendships, because this is all true all across the board in different ways. How are you connecting? How are you going to build relationships so you can have the most come out of it? So my project for you today is figuring out ways to connect. Now we'll talk more about teenagers probably later this week. Then this is the wrestling and but even the games is for teenagers. But we'll talk more about that later this week. But build connection today, because it's out of that connection that comes the growth that you want to see in your families.